everyone, it's Desiree and I am excited to be here with Scrappy Tails and Pear Blossom Press. It's a collab hop. So let's have some fun. What a better combination for Scrappy Tails dies, and we can light them up with Pear Blossom Press. So let's get started. I've got a piece of Bristol cardstock here. I'm going to make a 7x7 card. And I'm going to show you how you can light it up. I am also going to show you how you can light it up one way and then change your mind and light it up another. Oh, yes. When we think of backgrounds, we think of ink blending. We think of sprays. We think of solid coverage, watercolors. We can also create a background just splattering. And for those of you that know me, you know I love my splatters. It doesn't just have to be the blizzard with the white, the pearl, and the gold. We can do that with our colors. So I have, excuse me, chipped sapphire, prize ribbon, tumbled glass, and china, broken china. And I just splattered it. And I'm going to set that aside to dry. I've got a lot of ink here. Mixing it up, I have some scrap pieces of Bristol cardstock here, and I'm just going to dip and pick up as much of that ink as I possibly can, splatter it onto some panels, and I'll use those at another time. I love making backgrounds. That palette that I was using was nothing more than a piece of cardstock laminated. So that's a perfect palette. The dies that I'm using here are the A7 Lantern Pop-Up Snowflake Panel Add-ons. And it comes with 3 different dies. I'm only using 2 of them. And I'm layering them up. So I cut the top layer with some blue shades of mirror cardstock. One is a satin finish, like a turquoise, and then the 2 outer ones are a deep royal blue mirror cardstock. And then I cut it 2 more times out of white cardstock so that I could layer them up so that they can be dimensional. I want them to look like windows in the card panel that we just splattered. So I'll be die cutting into that. The details in the Scrappy Tail dies is absolutely amazing. And what I do like is when it comes to her collection, Sabrina's collections, there is definitely a theme, but the images that go through are very similar. They all match. So I really do always enjoy the collections as they come out. And I am never ceased to be amazed when it comes to these collections. We almost have these layered up. Once they're done, we're going to set those aside. And I'm going to grab Let It Snow Sentiment from the English Village stamp set. And I'm going to stamp that all on the open areas. So I've placed my images approximately where I want them. I'm using my Simon Says clear ink, and I'm just randomly stamping Let It Snow in those areas. I'm going to use my Recollections silver embossing powder, and I'm going to heat set that using my heat gun once we finally get the powder in there. I'm not worried. With all of the splatters, I was not worried about making sure that I hit it with my anti-static powder tool, because if I've got some silver flecks going through this, I'm actually okay with that. Once that's melted, we will then cut into our panel. Now, from the Snowflake Panel add-on, I'll be able to use all 3 of them. Again, I'm not worried about the design. Excuse me, hiccup. I'm not worried about the design. I just need that rectangle cut out. So once these are cut out, I put those in my little pot for all my extra die cuts and use them on other cards. But I just want to make sure that they're positioned where I want them to be positioned. The tape that I'm using is the Scotch Repositional tape. I think it just works the best. I don't seem to damage my cardstock with it. Me and tape and other things, we just don't get along. Now that I have this cut, I'm going to add some vellum to the back. I'm just going to trim these down. I cut them just a little bit bigger than what I needed, but I want the light to come through a vellum backer. And then once they're in place, then we'll play with our lights. Since we use the dies to cut out the window shape, we're able to piece these back in to those areas. So I want the turquoise blue, the matte, to be in the center. And I want the darker blue, of course, to be on each end. Now, you could certainly use all three of the panels. For some reason, my eye saw this. So now our top is ready. I have a piece of paper in between the battery and the connections so that we don't have this constant flashing, but I do remove it. So if you're sensitive to the lights blinking off and on, just so you know, that's going to be throughout the rest of the video. So just a heads up. I put a little bit of double-sided tape on top of the connector just to hold it in place. Now, my first thought, you guys know me, I always change my mind. My first thought was to have the lights coming down. So have the lights, cascading down through the window to the bottom. I thought that's the way that we were going to go. Now, here's what I love. I'm using the Pear Blossom Press Easy Lights, and they have 3 separate lights attached to it. These are so easy to use, and the length of the light is a good length, because I wasn't quite sure if this was going to work, if I was going to be able to get them to the top. Well, yes, I was, because I had already designated the bottom left-hand corner for my push. I liked this. You see the finger snapping, but I wasn't crazy about it. So I'm going to change my mind. Now, I used my repositional tape, so I'm able to lift these wires back up. Now, something to know about the wires. They are wires. But you don't want to pinch the wires, meaning you want to make sure that when you're taping them down and putting them down on the back of your card, let them be loopy. You don't want to have a direct pinch point in them because that could break the connection. And you don't want to pull too hard to get them separated because you need the black and the red wire connected to the filament light. If you pull too hard, it will separate and it won't light anymore. Ask me how I know. So they're fragile, but you don't have to be with kids' gloves. So I really liked the way that looked. And what I did, I made sure I positioned the lights just below where the vellum was. Now it's time to stack our double-sided tape. I'm using 2 layers of my Scotch tape, having fun, just like we do with a shaker card. And we certainly could have done that. We could have put shaker bits in behind the vellum. I am going to get that piece of cardstock back in between, and I wrote pull so that the recipient knows to pull, and they will have a button to know where they need to push for their card. But I'm just adding my double layer, double-sided tape. I'm going around the mechanism for our lights. I'll remove the release paper, and I have a dark blue piece of cardstock cut to 6 3/4 by 6 3/4 because that's what our front is cut to as well. And this is going to be set right there. I wanted a dark background. You could use white cardstock in the back of this, absolutely. But I wanted it dark because we're not Well, okay, so I'm constantly pushing the button to see what it looks like when it's lit up, and you get this beautiful glow that goes through it, and you'll see that. But the recipient isn't going to constantly hold the button down for it to be lit. So by having that dark cardstock in the back, it helps to make those elements really pop off and stand out off your card. I have a piece of 7x7 silver mirror cardstock cut, and I did cut out the center because I cherish and hoard my mirror and my specialty papers. And I'm just going to place this panel on top. So we've got a lot of weight going on when it comes to this card. And because of that, I'm going to use my double-sided 2-inch Uline film tape. As I said, I get this from Uline. It's very strong. It is wonderful tape. It is not forgiving. This is truly a tape that the moment it touches, it's there. She is not going to come apart. Some have said that you could heat it and it'll come apart. I have not tried that. I just go with it once it's down. But just to make sure that this is going to stay on that card base, that's the tape that I chose to use. I'm using some snowflakes from this was from a previous release by Scrappy Tails called the Snowflake Spinner. And what I've done is I've just die cut a couple, layered them, and then I have a small circle out of white cardstock where I wrote the word push, and the recipient will now know that is where they should push to see their card light up. I am having way too much fun with the Scrappy Tails embellishments. Now, these two embellishments are from the exclusive card kit that was recently just released. But she does have some beautiful tins available. One is red, green, and gold. And the other one is all different colors of blues and silvers and whites, which, yeah, I need to get my hands on that one. So much is in there. I think there's 8 packets in the tin, and you get one free. So you get a total of 9. So it's awesome. What I also love about the Easy Lights is the versatility. Now, I am very comfortable with the 3-pronged, that's what I'm going to call it, the original Easy Light. But she also has, Amanda also has a halo light where it's a ring and then one light. And if you saw my videos, I believe it was back in September, I was honored to be a guest designer for her. And I had shown the different light systems that she has. So many choices and so many ways of purchasing them. I've slowed this down. I've turned off my lights. I still have a window. I got to get used to that window being open there. But you can see just how well that is lighting up. It just adds a beautiful glow when it comes to the card. So it's a fun way, lighting up your cards, or if you're making a home decor piece, which is what I love to do as well with all of the pop-ups that Scrappy Tails has. It's just a neat way to light them up, make it interactive. I'm not sure. I think it's actually beaten a shaker card for me, so that's kind of cool. All the products I used will be listed down below. Remember, this is a collaboration hop. So down below, you will see the list of attendees for this collaboration, please, and I'll have a link to them as well. So make sure you hop along. As you hop, make sure you comment, because Scrappy Tails and Pear Blossom Press will each be giving away one $25 gift certificate to their store. But you have to comment, so make sure you comment in each of the videos that you do go for or go to see. I cannot wait to see them all myself. So guys, subscribe, hit that thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and do that for everybody that you see if you haven't already. Enjoy this process. See what fun we can have with paper. Who knew that lighting up a card could be so much entertainment, right? Enjoy, try new things, continue to grow, but most of all, always be creative, guys. and I will talk to you in the next one.